Hello boys. I am going to do a short story today, and as you know your text, it is Echoes, a collection of ISC short stories. Now I would want you boys, if you have your books with you, to open to page 54 because this is one chapter that we have not done. And the name of the chapter is The Story of an Hour. I'm going to go line by line. I'm going to give you the meanings as well as the explanation. Alright, so The Story of an Hour is by Kate Chopin. Now I begin reading it. Please pay very close attention. Knowing that Mrs. Mallard was afflicted means was suffering from a heart trouble, great care was taken to break to her as gently as possible the news of her husband's death. So now here right at the beginning of the story, we come to know that Mrs. Mallard was a heart patient, and then her husband had just died. Alright, her husband had died, and so the people who were going to break the news to her, they were trying to do it with much care. It was her sister Josephine who told her in broken sentences, veiled hints, veiled means hidden, that revealed and half concealing. Mrs. Mallard's sister's name was Josephine, and it was Josephine who tried to break the news to her. Well, she was doing it, and she did not, it appeared as if she was trying to hide something from Mrs. Mallard. Her husband's friend Richards was there, too, near her. It was he who had been in the newspaper office when intelligence of the railroad disaster was received, with Brentley Mallard's name leading the list of killed. So here we come to know the name of Mrs. Mallard's husband, that is Brentley Mallard. Now we are told here that Richards, who was a friend of Mrs. Mallard's husband, had been at the newspaper office when he actually got the news about this railroad accident, and he went to check. And he saw the name of Brentley Mallard leading the list of killed. He had only taken the time to assure himself of its truth by a second telegram, and had hastened means he had hurried to forestall means to stop any less careful, less tender friend in bearing the sad message. So, as soon as Richards, he came to know about the death of Brentley Mallard, what he did was, he stayed back to make sure that the news was correct. And as soon as he was definite, then he wanted to rush to Mrs. Mallard. He wanted to forestall means to stop anyone else from going and breaking the news, being very blunt on giving the news to Mrs. Mallard. She did not hear the story, as many women have heard the same, with a paralyzed inability to accept its significance. Right? So, normally when people get such news, the first reaction is that they become totally stunned, they are totally paralyzed. But Mrs. Mallard did not behave in that manner, the usual manner. What happened? What did she do? Now let's see. She wept at once, with sudden, wild abandonment in her sister's arms. So what was her reaction? She started weeping immediately in her sister Josephine's arms. When the storm of grief had spent itself, she went away to her room alone. So after she had finished crying, alright, so she went to her room. She would not have no one follow her, so she did not allow anyone in the house to follow her. There stood facing the open window a comfortable, roomy armchair. Into this she sank, pressed down by a physical exhaustion that haunted her body and seemed to reach into her soul. So we are told that, after she had stopped weeping, Mrs. Mallard, she went up to her room. She did not allow anyone to follow her. She entered the room, and then we are told the description of the room, in the room there was a roomy armchair means a very comfortable, big armchair, and she sank into it because suddenly she felt totally exhausted. She was totally tired. Alright?